Imagine standing on the gentle banks of the Nile at dusk. The water flows quietly, reflecting the fading light of the sun as it dips below the horizon, casting a golden shimmer that dances across the surface. A soft breeze carries the faint scent of lotus blossoms and the warm, dry air of the desert beyond. This river, ancient and eternal, has witnessed millennia unfold along its winding course. It has been a lifeline for countless generations, a silent companion to pharaohs, farmers, priests, and travelers, all of whom have shaped the story of a civilization both magnificent and mysterious. Tonight, we step into that story, letting its quiet rhythm carry us into the world of ancient Egypt. From a distance, Egypt may seem like a land frozen in time, a place of towering pyramids and golden sands. But look closer, and you begin to see layers upon layers of human ambition, creativity, and enigma. Every monument, every carved stone, every weathered hieroglyph speaks not only of what was accomplished, but also of what remains unknown. We know of mighty pharaohs who commanded armies, built temples, and ruled as gods on earth. Yet we do not fully understand the secrets they took to their tombs, the rituals they performed behind closed doors, or the minds that conceived such incredible feats of architecture and art. Here, in the contrast between the known and the hidden, the bright and the shadowed, lies the first whisper of mystery. As the sun continues its slow descent, the desert begins to claim the last warmth of the day. The sands stretch endlessly, silent except for the occasional sigh of the wind. It is a stark contrast to the fertile banks of the Nile, where life pulses with every flood and harvest. This duality, river and desert, life and barrenness, the ephemeral and the eternal, is at the heart of ancient Egypt. It shaped the minds of those who lived here, inspiring awe and reverence, a belief that life and death were intertwined in ways humans could only begin to understand. And it is this very tension between what is seen and what is hidden, what is understood and what is yet to be discovered, that draws us deeper into Egypt's story. In the distance, the silhouette of a pyramid rises against the twilight sky. Its geometric perfection is awe-inspiring, yet it carries with it an air of secrecy. Who built it and how? What lies in the chambers and corridors hidden from view? For centuries, humans have gazed upon these monuments, marveling at their scale, yet wondering at the mysteries buried within. The pyramids are not merely stone structures. They're silent witnesses to a civilization that sought to conquer both time and mortality. They remind us that history is not only about facts and dates, but also about the stories that linger in the shadows, waiting for patient eyes and curious minds to uncover them. And so, as we begin our journey, we do not rush. There's no urgency here. Instead, we move with a deliberate calm, letting each image, each thought, and each whisper of history settle gently in our minds. Ancient Egypt is a world built on contrasts, the familiar and the unknown, the tangible and the spiritual, the grandiose and the intimate. By embracing these contrasts, we begin to see not only the civilization itself, but also the humanity that shaped it. Every pharaoh, scribe, priest, and artisan left traces of themselves, yet many stories have faded into silence. Our task is not to answer every question, but to explore the space between certainty and mystery, to wander along the banks of the Nile and through the sands of time, listening to what the past softly tells us. Tonight, we let the flow of history and mystery guide us into a state of quiet reflection. We allow the calm of the river and the stillness of the desert to seep into our minds, creating a gentle rhythm that mirrors the heartbeat of an ancient land. As we begin to unravel the tales of pyramids, pharaohs, and forgotten secrets, we do so with patience and reverence, acknowledging the immense span of time that separates us from those who first walked these lands. There is a serenity in knowing that some mysteries are meant to linger, that the unknown is not a void to be feared but a space for wonder, curiosity, and imagination. So we watch as the last light fades from the sky, the Nile's waters glinting with a soft silver sheen. The desert settles into shadow, vast and quiet. In this twilight, ancient Egypt begins to unfold, not as a collection of dates and facts, but as a living, breathing story whispered across the sands and through the stones. Let us walk gently through its streets and temples, peer into its tombs and chambers, and listen to the echoes of a civilization that, even in silence, speaks volumes. Here, in this meeting of history and mystery, we find both knowledge and serenity. We find the perfect invitation to journey deeper, and perhaps to drift peacefully into the quiet wonder of a world that has captivated imaginations for millennia. The Nile, flowing silently through the heart of Egypt, is more than a river. It is the pulse of a civilization, a quiet witness to the rise and fall of kings, the birth of cities, and the shaping of one of the world's most enduring cultures. As the sun rises over its waters, golden light spills across the fertile banks, illuminating fields where grain sways gently in the breeze. These fields, nourished by the river's annual floods, have sustained life for thousands of years, allowing communities to flourish where the desert beyond is harsh and unyielding. The contrast between the lush, vibrant riverbanks and the silent, endless sands is stark, yet it is this very tension that gave ancient Egypt its rhythm, its resilience, and its mysteries. The river is a storyteller in its own right. Its waters carry whispers of the past, echoes of ancient farmers guiding oxen through the fields, of traders navigating small reed boats, of priests performing rituals to honor gods and spirits. It is along the Nile that settlements first appeared, drawn by its life-giving water, and it is along its course that the greatest temples and cities would one day rise. The river's predictable flooding was both a blessing and a mystery, its cyclical pattern interpreted as the divine breath of gods, a natural miracle that shaped every aspect of daily life. Villagers would plan their lives around its ebb and flow, planting and harvesting in harmony with its rhythm, trusting in a cycle that seemed to stretch back to the beginning of time. Even now, as we imagine those early communities, there's a sense of quiet magic in the air. The Nile is not simply a geographic feature. It is a living, breathing presence. It defines borders yet connects distant lands, supports life yet demands respect, offering abundance while hiding its own secrets beneath the shimmering surface. One can almost hear the soft lapping of water against riverbanks, the gentle creaking of wooden boats, and the distant laughter of children whose names have long been forgotten. There's a profound sense of continuity here, a feeling that although thousands of years have passed, the river remains unchanged in essence, guiding and witnessing the same stories of human endeavor, faith, and ambition. From the earliest times, Egyptians understood the Nile's power not only as a physical sustainer of life, but also as a spiritual force. The river was more than water. It was a bridge between the known world and the mysterious realms beyond. Temples were built along its shores, adorned with carvings of gods, pharaohs, and celestial symbols. Priests interpreted its currents and floods as signs of divine favor or warning. Fishermen and farmers alike respected the river's moods, understanding that survival depended on careful observation and harmonious living. In this way, the Nile shaped not just sustenance but thought, belief, and culture itself, intertwining the physical and metaphysical in a rhythm as ancient and enduring as the river's flow. Yet, for all its generosity, the Nile is enigmatic. Beneath its reflective surface lie remnants of settlements now lost, clues to civilizations that have vanished without a trace. Archaeologists have uncovered towns swallowed by mud, sacred artifacts buried by shifting sands, and inscriptions whose meanings have faded over centuries. Each discovery hints at a story, a life once lived in harmony with the river, yet each also reminds us of what remains unknown. The river holds its secrets closely, offering glimpses of its past like scattered pieces of a puzzle that will never be fully complete. This duality, the life it gives and the mysteries it guards, is a central theme in understanding ancient Egypt, where the seen and the unseen coexist in a delicate, timeless balance. As we follow the Nile's course, from its southern highlands to the Mediterranean delta, we encounter the landscapes that nurtured extraordinary achievements. Fertile fields supported villages that grew into cities. Trade along the river brought ideas, goods, and innovations, and the constant presence of water allowed artisans, builders, and scribes to pursue skills that would become legendary. Hieroglyphs carved into temple walls, intricate jewelry, and monumental architecture all trace their origins back to this intimate relationship with the river. The Nile was both stage and actor in the civilization's drama, influencing every facet of life while remaining quietly enigmatic. There is also a poetic quality to the river's presence. Its calm surface reflects the changing sky, capturing both the blinding brilliance of the sun and the soft glow of moonlight. At night, the Nile becomes a mirror of the stars, a place where the heavens touch the earth. Ancient Egyptians believed that this connection to the cosmos was more than symbolic. It was a spiritual reality, a bridge linking their world to divine forces. Festivals and rituals often centered on the river, celebrating its gifts and seeking guidance from the gods it was thought to harbor. Even today, when we imagine the Nile under a starlit sky, it is easy to feel that same quiet reverence, that same sense of awe in the face of a force that is at once familiar and profoundly mysterious. The river's mysteries extend beyond the natural. Some ancient texts and archaeological findings hint at cities and temples now lost beneath the waters or hidden beneath layers of earth along its banks. Legends speak of treasures, knowledge, and sacred rituals whose details have vanished over millennia. Each generation uncovers fragments of these stories, yet the river keeps the full narrative just out of reach. This interplay between discovery and secrecy mirrors the broader story of ancient Egypt, a civilization meticulously recorded in stone and papyrus, yet still holding countless questions that provoke wonder and contemplation. As the day slowly wanes, imagine standing once again on the riverbank, feeling the gentle pull of its current, hearing the faint rustle of reeds, and sensing the quiet endurance of a civilization that has long since passed, yet whose spirit lingers in every ripple. Here, life and mystery flow together seamlessly, just as they did thousands of years ago. The Nile teaches patience, observation, and respect for forces larger than ourselves. It reminds us that history is not only what is written or discovered, but also what waits silently beneath the surface for those willing to look closely, listen carefully, and imagine deeply. In this space, the known and the unknown coexist. We see the cities, temples, and monuments that remain, yet we also feel the presence of those lost to time. The farmers, artisans, priests, and dreamers whose lives unfolded quietly along the riverbanks. The Nile holds these stories with a gentle patience, inviting us to follow its winding path and explore the civilization it nurtured. And as we prepare to move deeper into the world of pharaohs, pyramids, and forgotten secrets, the river serves as a calm guide, a reminder that history flows at its own pace, and that some of the greatest mysteries are best approached slowly, with curiosity and wonder. Long before the Great Pyramids rose against the sky, long before the temples echoed with chants and prayers, there were the first pharaohs, men and women who would come to be seen not only as rulers of a land, but as living gods. Imagine the earliest cities along the Nile, modest settlements of mud brick homes and bustling markets, where power began to concentrate in the hands of those whose vision extended beyond daily survival. These early kings, draped in fine linen and adorned with gold and jewels, wielded authority not simply through force, but through the sacred belief that they embodied the divine order itself. The line between human and God was delicate, sometimes invisible, yet it was this very blending of mortal ambition and spiritual reverence that shaped the course of Egyptian history. The pharaohs were, in many ways, both guardians and enigma. They governed with a quiet majesty, issuing laws, collecting tribute, and commissioning monuments that would speak across centuries. Yet beneath the outward splendor, much of their lives remained shrouded in mystery. We know their names, we can trace their dynasties, and we can marvel at the tombs built in their honor, but we glimpse only fragments of who they truly were, or their private thoughts as they walked the palace halls. What fears lingered behind the golden mask? Which secrets did they carry to the grave, hidden from even the closest advisors? In every inscription and artifact, there is both revelation and silence, a duality that invites us to wonder, to imagine, and to drift gently into the past. Consider Narmer, one of the earliest rulers to unite Upper and Lower Egypt. His victories, recorded in ceremonial palettes and carvings, are both factual and symbolic. He is a figure of immense historical significance. Yet even in his triumph, there are mysteries. How did such a unification take place in practical terms? Which strategies were devised in council chambers now long vanished? What lives were touched and altered by his rise to power? These questions, unanswered yet compelling, remind us that the story of the pharaoh is not only about conquest and governance, but also about the human experience hidden beneath grandeur and ritual. The pharaoh's divinity was not merely a matter of perception. It was woven into every ritual, every act of governance. They were seen as intermediaries between gods and men, their decrees carrying not only worldly authority, but spiritual weight. Priests and scribes carefully recorded their actions. Temples were built in their honor, and ceremonies were designed to reflect cosmic order. Yet even with such meticulous records, there are gaps, tiny whispers of lost wisdom and forgotten practices. Some rituals were so secretive that even the scribes' most detailed accounts cannot capture them fully. In this interplay of visibility and secrecy, of divine radiance and hidden human complexity, we find a rich tension that draws us ever deeper into the story of Egypt's rulers. The lives of pharaohs were also bound by the natural rhythms of their land. The Nile's flood dictated planting and harvest, and celestial cycles influenced ceremonial timing. The pharaoh's reign was thus entwined with both earth and sky, a reflection of balance that the Egyptians called Ma'at. To maintain Ma'at was the pharaoh's sacred duty, to ensure harmony between gods, people, and nature. Yet even kings were mortal, and despite their power, they faced challenges of succession, rebellion, and mortality. The contrast between divine perception and human vulnerability adds a quiet melancholy to their story, a reminder that beneath the gold and grandeur lay the fragile pulse of life itself. Architecture, art, and monuments were all extensions of pharaonic identity. A temple or tomb was not simply a building. It was a statement of cosmic order, a declaration of divine authority, and a vessel for eternal remembrance. The carvings on walls, the inscriptions and hieroglyphs, and the careful placement of statues were all designed to endure time and communicate the pharaoh's presence to generations yet unborn. And yet, despite the meticulous planning, many mysteries remain. Hidden chambers, unfinished tombs, and cryptic symbols hint at knowledge now lost, at stories intentionally concealed or forgotten. These enigmas whisper to us across millennia, urging careful attention and contemplation. Imagine the life within the royal palace, a world of ceremonial grandeur and intimate secrecy, where advisors, scribes, and servants moved in a delicate dance around the ruler. Daily routines mixed with divine rituals, audiences with officials followed by private prayers to the gods. The pharaoh's movements, choices, and words were imbued with significance, each action resonating within a broader spiritual and political framework. And yet, the human side of these figures, their doubts, joys, fears, and desires, remains largely hidden. These glimpses of humanity within the cloak of divinity deepen our curiosity and invite us to see pharaohs not only as distant symbols, but as real, complex beings navigating a world both magnificent and fragile. Dynasties rose and fell, each generation leaving its mark in ways both grand and subtle. Some pharaohs are remembered vividly. Khufu, builder of the Great Pyramid. Hatshepsut, the extraordinary female ruler. Ramses II, a figure of lasting military and cultural significance. Others remain shadows, names etched faintly in stone, their deeds partially obscured or lost. The contrast between remembered and forgotten rulers reminds us that history is selective, shaped not only by accomplishments, but also by what time chooses to preserve. Yet even in absence, these lost pharaohs contribute to the aura of mystery that surrounds ancient Egypt, their secrets lingering like soft echoes in empty halls and silent tombs. As we explore the lives and legacies of pharaohs, it becomes clear that their story is more than political or religious history. It is a story of human aspiration, of the desire to bridge mortality and divinity, to leave an enduring mark upon the world. The careful intertwining of ritual, governance, and monumental architecture speaks to a civilization that sought meaning in both the seen and unseen. And it is precisely this blending of clarity and enigma, the known accomplishments contrasted with the hidden truths, that captures our imagination and invites a reflective, meditative journey through the heart of ancient Egypt. Tonight, as we imagine walking through the corridors of a palace or standing silently before a colossal statue, we feel the weight of centuries pressing gently upon us. We sense both the brilliance and the mystery, the human and the divine. In this space between certainty and wonder, between history and speculation, the pharaoh's world opens slowly, allowing us to step softly, breathe deeply, and enter a realm where every shadow might conceal a secret, every inscription might whisper a story. This is the world we now explore, a land where kings ruled as gods, yet where mysteries endure, inviting patience, curiosity, and quiet reflection. Rising from the sands with a quiet, timeless authority, the pyramids are more than monuments. They are the enduring heartbeat of ancient Egypt, a testament to the ambition, ingenuity, and mystery of its people. Imagine approaching the Great Pyramid of Giza, its massive stones glowing softly under the afternoon sun, each block perfectly aligned, each edge sharp against the sky. The scale is breathtaking, almost incomprehensible. To the ancient Egyptians, these structures were not merely tombs, but eternal stairways to the divine, monumental bridges between the mortal world and the realm of the gods. They stand as silent witnesses to a civilization that reached for immortality and left questions in their wake, questions that continue to intrigue historians, archaeologists, and dreamers alike. The construction of these pyramids remains one of history's most captivating mysteries. Modern engineering can replicate many aspects of their design, yet the precision achieved with ancient tools, without wheels or cranes, seems almost magical. How were stones weighing tons moved with such accuracy? How did builders maintain such perfect alignment with the stars and cardinal directions? Every theory brings fascination and speculation, yet none can fully capture the genius and effort invested over decades. As we walk slowly around these enormous structures in imagination, we sense not only human determination, but a deep spiritual intent, an intention that transcends mere utility and reaches into the sublime. The pyramids were the pharaoh's ultimate statements of power, both earthly and divine. Each block, carefully cut and positioned, carried symbolic meaning, reflecting the king's desire to preserve Ma'at, the cosmic order, beyond death. These structures were meticulously designed to house not only the physical body, but the spiritual essence of the ruler. The internal chambers, corridors, and shafts were arranged according to both practical needs and symbolic cosmology, aligning with stars, solstices, and sacred numerology. The known aspects of pyramid construction are impressive enough, yet they are dwarfed by the countless unknowns, hidden chambers, passages that may never be discovered, and techniques now lost to time. This blend of revealed mastery and hidden knowledge keeps the imagination engaged, allowing us to drift into wonder as gently as the desert wind over the sand. Consider the Great Pyramid itself, built for Pharaoh Khufu. Standing before it, one cannot help but feel the human ambition and devotion poured into every stone. Tens of thousands of workers, artisans, and laborers contributed over decades, their lives intertwined with this single monumental vision. Yet, the details of their work, how daily tasks were organized, how stones were transported across hundreds of meters, how precise measurements were achieved, remain partially obscured by history. We can observe the outcome, marvel at its perfection, but the process itself is shrouded in partial secrecy. This is where mystery deepens our connection to the past, creating a gentle tension between admiration and curiosity, inviting the mind to explore what is known and imagine what is lost. The pyramids' surroundings also tell stories. Smaller pyramids, satellite temples, causeways, and workers' villages speak of a society organized with meticulous care, each element serving a role in the pharaoh's journey to eternity. Here we find the contrast between grandeur and intimacy. The colossal pyramid towering over modest dwellings, monumental architecture alongside the everyday lives of those who built it. Archaeological evidence shows that workers were fed, housed, and respected, suggesting a society where dedication and skill were deeply valued. Even as we focus on the scale of the pyramids, the human dimension remains ever present, softening the awe with a quiet sense of connection. And then there are the hidden chambers, silent spaces that stir the imagination and evoke a subtle thrill of mystery. Some have been explored, revealing treasures, inscriptions, and clues about religious beliefs. Others may lie undisturbed, their existence hinted at through subtle anomalies in the pyramid structure. Each discovery is both revelation and puzzle, offering insight while reminding us of the vast unknown. The pyramid becomes a metaphor for ancient Egypt itself, visible brilliance layered over hidden depths, a civilization whose surface grandeur conceals countless secrets beneath. Walking along its base in imagination, one senses both the solidity of stone and the whisper of untold stories, a harmony that captivates and calms simultaneously. The alignment of the pyramids with celestial bodies further deepens the mystery. Scholars have long noted the connection between the Great Pyramid and stars in Orion's belt, suggesting that the Egyptians incorporated astronomical knowledge into their designs. Some theories propose that the pyramids functioned as cosmic maps, linking Earth to heaven, while others suggest ritualistic or symbolic purposes beyond our full understanding. Whether practical, spiritual, or both, these alignments emphasize the Egyptians' extraordinary relationship with the cosmos. They remind us that every stone placed was part of a larger vision, a vision reaching beyond earthly life, connecting human effort with celestial harmony. Walking through the internal passages of a pyramid, one is struck by the contrast between exterior vastness and interior confinement. Narrow corridors lead to hidden chambers, walls carved with hieroglyphs, and spaces designed to protect the pharaoh's journey into the afterlife. The play of light and shadow, the echo of imagined footsteps, and the stillness of centuries combine to create an almost meditative atmosphere. Here, the mystery is tangible. We know the purpose in broad terms, yet the exact experiences, rituals, and intentions remain veiled. In this delicate balance of known and unknown, the pyramid becomes a perfect companion for reflection, inviting us to wander slowly, observe quietly, and imagine freely. Beyond their architectural and spiritual significance, the pyramids also serve as symbols of human curiosity. They remind us that even with modern technology and scholarship, some secrets endure. Every excavation, every scan, and every study uncovers new insights. Yet each discovery often leads to more questions. How did the ancient engineers calculate angles so precisely? How were the massive stones quarried and lifted without cranes? What ceremonies were performed in chambers now lost to time? These unanswered questions are not frustrations. They are invitations to ponder, to dream, and to experience a quiet thrill of connection with a civilization that both shares and withholds its secrets. And yet, for all their grandeur, the pyramids are also deeply poetic. They rise from the desert as if grown from the earth itself, blending seamlessly with the horizon, echoing the shifting light of sun and moon. Sand drifts softly around their bases, wind whispers across the stones, and stars cast a silver glow upon their surfaces at night. In this stillness, the pyramids speak not in words but in presence, a calm, enduring message of human aspiration, reverence, and wonder. Standing before them, one feels both awe and tranquility, a gentle reminder of the delicate balance between ambition and humility, knowledge and mystery. In contemplating the pyramids, we also reflect on the people who built them. Workers, artisans, priests, and overseers devoted their lives to a vision that transcended their own existence. Their labor, discipline, and ingenuity are etched into every block, yet their names are mostly lost to time. The contrast between their ordinary lives and the extraordinary structures they created underscores a central theme of ancient Egypt. The human effort, guided by vision and faith, can achieve permanence even amid impermanence. This reflection invites calm admiration and a meditative appreciation for both the visible and the hidden, the known and the unknowable. As evening approaches, imagine the sun setting behind the pyramids, casting long shadows that stretch across the sands. The structures glow softly, their edges softened by the fading light, and the desert wind carries a whisper of millennia. This is the perfect moment to pause, to breathe, and to absorb the quiet majesty of a civilization that sought immortality not only through stone but through mystery. The pyramids stand as eternal sentinels, bridging time and space, inviting us to linger in contemplation and guiding us gently toward the deeper secrets of ancient Egypt that await beyond the desert horizon. Beyond the monumental silhouettes of the pyramids, deeper mysteries lie hidden beneath the sands, in corridors carved with quiet purpose and tombs long sealed against the world. These spaces, often small and shadowed, hold stories both grand and intimate, reminders that ancient Egypt was as much about private devotion and personal ambition as it was about public spectacle. As we imagine stepping into these hidden chambers, the air grows cooler, heavier with the weight of centuries. Each wall, each inscription, carries the echoes of lives lived in reverence and secrecy, offering a whispered connection to the people who once walked these passages. The tombs of lesser-known pharaohs and nobles hold a unique fascination. Unlike the pyramids, which dominate the desert horizon, many of these resting places are hidden within rocky cliffs or concealed beneath layers of sand. Some were forgotten over time, their existence only hinted at in fragmented texts or whispered legends. Archaeologists uncovering these spaces often describe a sense of stepping into a living moment, as though the walls themselves remember the hands that carved them. The contrast between the grand visibility of the pyramids and the intimate, often hidden chambers emphasizes a central truth of ancient Egypt, that its grandeur existed alongside quiet, personal acts of devotion and creativity, many of which remain shrouded in mystery. Mummies, amulets, and carefully arranged offerings reveal the profound care with which the dead were prepared for the afterlife. In these small, shadowed spaces, one can sense the duality of life and death, the known world of family, titles, and daily rituals, contrasted with the unknown journey the soul would undertake beyond the tomb. The Egyptians believed that every detail mattered: the positioning of a statue, the choice of inscription, the orientation of a chamber. These elements were designed not only to honor the deceased, but also to ensure their safe passage into eternity. Walking in imagination through these corridors, we encounter a civilization attentive to both the material and spiritual worlds, where even the smallest acts could carry cosmic significance. Some tombs, like those in the Valley of the Kings, are masterpieces of both art and ingenuity. Elaborate wall paintings depict gods, animals, and scenes of daily life, each image carefully chosen to guide the soul of the deceased. Hieroglyphic texts provide instructions, prayers, and spells intended to protect and empower the departed. Yet for all the knowledge preserved, questions remain. Why were certain tombs left unfinished? Which chambers have yet to be discovered? How many treasures, inscriptions, or artifacts still lie hidden, untouched by time? This interplay of revelation and secrecy keeps the imagination alive, allowing us to drift gently into the past while remaining aware that the full story may never be known. Hidden passageways add another layer of intrigue. Some corridors were intentionally sealed to protect sacred knowledge, while others may have collapsed under centuries of sand and stone. Archaeologists often describe a sense of suspense upon discovering a new chamber, an almost sacred tension, as though the tomb itself has been waiting for centuries to reveal a fragment of its story. These spaces are both literal and symbolic doorways, leading not only into the resting places of the dead, but also into the mysteries of a civilization that prized secrecy, ritual, and the preservation of knowledge. In walking slowly through these imagined hallways, one can sense both the grandeur and intimacy of ancient Egypt, a civilization that balanced public display with private devotion. The treasures found within these tombs are more than material objects. They are expressions of belief, love, and identity. Jewelry, pottery, and figurines serve practical and spiritual purposes, ensuring comfort and protection in the afterlife. Some artifacts bear intricate inscriptions, recording the names, titles, or even personal wishes of the deceased. Others remain enigmatic, their meanings obscured by lost languages or faded symbolism. This blend of clarity and ambiguity evokes a gentle curiosity, encouraging us to ponder not only the lives of those who crafted these items, but also the unseen forces guiding their placement and purpose. Each object is a bridge across time, connecting the present observer with a past that is both tangible and elusive. Legends surrounding hidden tombs further amplify their allure. Tales of unmarked graves, secret rituals, and treasures buried to protect sacred knowledge circulate both in ancient texts and modern imagination. While some of these stories are embellished over centuries, others hint at truths yet to be uncovered. This mixture of documented history and whispered speculation creates a soft, hypnotic tension that invites reflection rather than urgency. In imagining these forgotten spaces, one can sense the excitement of discovery tempered by the serene acceptance that some mysteries are meant to endure. The environment within these chambers is itself a meditation. Cool, still, and often dimly lit, these tombs contrast sharply with the bright expanses of desert outside. Shadows stretch along walls adorned with intricate carvings, the faint scent of aged stone and resin lingering in the air. It is in these quiet, enclosed spaces that the human presence of ancient Egypt feels most immediate. Here, we are reminded that a civilization known for its monumental achievements also valued the private, the sacred, and the intimate. Walking slowly through these imagined corridors, one experiences both a sense of wonder and a gentle calm, a rhythm that encourages reflection and imagination. Some of the greatest mysteries lie in the unmarked or undiscovered tombs. Archaeologists continue to explore new sites, uncovering forgotten corridors and artifacts that rewrite fragments of history. Yet even as new discoveries emerge, the sands of Egypt guard countless stories, keeping some secrets safe for generations to come. This ongoing dialogue between the known and the unknown mirrors the very essence of ancient Egypt, a civilization dedicated to order and eternity, yet deeply intertwined with enigma and mystery. For those who engage with these spaces, the experience is both educational and meditative, a gentle journey through time that leaves the mind both curious and serene. In reflecting on these hidden chambers, we also contemplate the people who built them, the architects, artisans, and laborers whose skill and dedication made permanence possible. Their lives were ordinary in many ways, yet their work has endured, allowing us to witness fragments of human experience across millennia. This contrast between daily labor and enduring legacy underscores a quiet philosophy of ancient Egypt, that even small, careful acts can resonate through time, leaving traces of beauty and meaning long after the individuals themselves have passed. In this way, the hidden tombs become more than resting places. They are reflections of a society that revered life, death, and the mysteries that bridge the two. As we imagine leaving these chambers, stepping back into the sunlit desert, there is a lingering sense of awe and tranquility. The quiet, shadowed spaces have offered a gentle journey into both history and imagination, balancing the grandeur of pyramids with the intimacy of hidden tombs. We carry with us not only the facts and discoveries, but also the quiet thrill of mysteries yet unsolved, the whispers of lives and rituals that continue to speak across time. The hidden chambers of Egypt remind us that even in the presence of immense achievements, some of the most profound experiences lie in subtlety, in shadow, and in what remains just beyond our grasp. Here, in this space between revelation and secrecy, we feel a serene connection with the past. The tombs, the corridors, and the artifacts invite slow contemplation, offering a bridge between human curiosity and the enduring mysteries of a civilization that sought both permanence and transcendence. In this gentle exploration, the known and the unknown flow together, much like the Nile that sustains and witnesses all, guiding us calmly toward the next chapter. The intricate world of Egyptian religion, gods, and myth, where every belief carries echoes of life, death, and cosmic order. The world of ancient Egypt is one where the divine and the mortal were never far apart, where the sacred wove through daily life like the flowing waters of the Nile. Gods and goddesses were not distant figures to be revered from afar. They were intimate, present, and powerful forces shaping every aspect of existence. Each sunrise and sunset, each flood and drought, each birth and death was a reflection of the god's will, a constant reminder that life was both fragile and miraculous. In exploring the pantheon of Egypt, we encounter beings both familiar and enigmatic, gods of light and shadow, creation and destruction, life and afterlife. They embody the contrasts that define Egyptian thought, creating a rich tapestry of myth, ritual, and belief that continues to capture the imagination. Imagine the great halls of temples where priests moved with measured grace, offering incense, reciting prayers, and performing rituals that connected earth to heaven. Statues of Amun-Ra, the sun god, gleamed in flickering torchlight, their faces serene yet commanding. Nearby, reliefs depicted Osiris, lord of the underworld, overseeing the souls of the dead, while Isis, his devoted sister and wife, provided guidance and protection. The interplay between these deities is complex: creation and destruction, life and death, order and chaos. Each story, each symbol, carries layers of meaning, offering both guidance and mystery. Even now, thousands of years later, the myths continue to inspire curiosity, inviting contemplation of forces greater than ourselves. The gods were intimately connected to the natural world. The Nile itself was seen as a manifestation of Hapi, the god of fertility and abundance, while the sun's journey across the sky reflected the daily voyage of our animals, too, were sacred, embodying divine qualities. Falcons represented Horus, the protector of kings. Cats honored Batet, goddess of home and family. Crocodiles embodied Sobuk, a god of strength and danger. This seamless blending of the familiar and the mysterious reflects the Egyptians' understanding of life as a network of visible and invisible forces, each element holding significance, each ritual a bridge to something beyond ordinary perception. Temples were more than places of worship. They were cosmic centers, carefully aligned with celestial movements and earthly geography. Every column, relief, and corridor had purpose, echoing the belief that the human and divine worlds are interwoven. Processions, offerings, and ceremonies maintained harmony, sustaining Ma'at, the universal balance that Egyptians considered essential to life. The contrast between public ritual and secret rites within temple walls added layers of intrigue. Some ceremonies were open to many, reinforcing community and shared devotion, while others were hidden, their details known only to priests and royalty. This duality between openness and secrecy creates a sense of quiet wonder, inviting us to reflect on what lies beneath the surface of history and belief. The myths themselves are filled with drama and wisdom. Consider the story of Osiris, who was killed and dismembered by his brother Set, only to be restored and become the ruler of the afterlife. This tale embodies contrasts: life and death, betrayal and restoration, the human and the divine. Or the tale of Ra's nightly journey through the underworld, battling chaos and bringing light again to the world. These narratives are not merely entertainment. They convey moral lessons, spiritual insights, and cultural values. They remind us that ancient Egyptians viewed existence as a delicate balance, a rhythm maintained through understanding, reverence, and careful attention to both seen and unseen forces. Religion in Egypt was not abstract. It was deeply practical and integrated into daily life. Farmers offered small tokens to the river gods for a fruitful harvest. Artisans carved protective symbols into homes, and families performed rituals to honor ancestors. Life itself was considered a sacred dance with the divine, a continuous exchange between human action and cosmic consequence. This intimacy with the spiritual created a culture that valued observation, reflection, and meticulous care. It also left behind mysteries, rituals only partially understood, inscriptions whose meanings remain debated, and objects imbued with purposes we can only speculate about. These mysteries create a quiet tension, a gentle pull between understanding and wonder that defines the Egyptian worldview. The afterlife, central to Egyptian belief, was a landscape of both hope and uncertainty. Tombs, mummification, and funerary texts like the Book of the Dead guided souls through perilous journeys beyond death. The known details, the careful wrapping of the body, the placement of amulets, the recitation of spells, contrast with the unknown, the experiences of the soul, the challenges it faced, and the mysteries of divine judgment. This contrast is both calming and intriguing, encouraging contemplation rather than fear. The Egyptians approached death not as an end, but as a continuation, a journey requiring preparation, respect, and understanding. In this way, their spirituality resonates even now, offering a meditative reflection on mortality and the eternal. Priestesses and religious officials played essential roles, serving as intermediaries between humans and gods. They maintained sacred spaces, interpreted omens, and ensured the smooth functioning of temples and rituals. Their knowledge, often closely guarded, added layers of secrecy and fascination. While monumental inscriptions celebrate kings and gods, the contributions of these spiritual guides were quietly woven into the fabric of everyday life, sustaining the delicate balance between divine will and human endeavor. This blend of visible and hidden influence mirrors the broader pattern in Egyptian history. What is monumental and what is subtle exist together, shaping a civilization both grand and intimate. Art and symbolism permeated every aspect of religious practice. Hieroglyphs carried not just language, but power, each symbol imbued with significance. Wall paintings, statues, and ceremonial objects encoded knowledge about creation, the gods, and the afterlife. Every detail, from the curve of a hieroglyph to the positioning of a statue, was deliberate, designed to maintain harmony and convey meaning. The careful attention to both practicality and mystery invites a reflective engagement, encouraging us to pause and consider how much meaning can reside in subtle forms and quiet gestures. Even now, as we imagine walking through temple corridors or standing before colossal statues, we feel the calm rhythm of ancient devotion. The contrast between light and shadow, the known and the unknown, creates a space for meditation and wonder. Softly imagined chants and the distant flicker of torchlight evoke a serenity that transcends time, allowing us to inhabit the same mental and spiritual space as those who first revered these gods. Through this immersive reflection, the mysteries of religion and myth are not threatening, but inviting, leading us gently to curiosity and contemplation. In contemplating the pantheon, we also sense the human dimension within divine narratives. Pharaohs and priests, worshippers and artisans, all participated in a system that elevated the ordinary to the extraordinary, blending mortality with eternity. Gods were reflections of human concerns as much as cosmic forces, and human lives were intertwined with divine will in ways both visible and hidden. The interplay between everyday life and sacred duty, between ritual and imagination, leaves a soft, lingering sense of wonder. It reminds us that mysteries, when approached with calm attention, can enrich our understanding without overwhelming it. As we leave the temples and quiet chambers of the past, the gods of Egypt linger in imagination, silent, powerful, and deeply connected to the rhythms of life and death. Their stories, their symbols, and their rituals form a tapestry of contrasts. Light and dark, life and afterlife, seen and unseen. In this space between knowledge and mystery, we find both serenity and curiosity, a gentle invitation to continue exploring the civilization that created these profound connections. The gods, like the river and the tombs, guide us onward, softly leading us toward the intellectual and spiritual achievements recorded in writing, knowledge, and the enduring legacy of Egyptian culture. Amid the grandeur of temples, tombs, and pyramids, there existed another quiet, yet equally vital force in ancient Egypt: the scribes. These men and women, trained in the delicate art of writing and record-keeping, were the guardians of knowledge, the bridge between the seen world and the mysteries recorded in stone and papyrus. Imagine them seated on mats in dimly lit rooms, reed pens in hand, carefully tracing hieroglyphs with painstaking precision. Every stroke, every curve of a symbol was deliberate, a blend of artistry and intellect, intended not merely to communicate but to endure through time. The scribes' work connected mortals to gods, rulers to their people, and the present to the past, preserving wisdom that continues to speak across millennia. The art of writing in ancient Egypt was far more than practical record-keeping. Hieroglyphs were considered sacred, imbued with magical power. Each symbol carried meaning beyond its literal value, capable of influencing spiritual and earthly realms. Writing was a craft of reverence, performed with patience, care, and intention. Scribes chronicled everything from royal decrees and economic transactions to religious texts and literary compositions. The contrast between the grandeur of monumental inscriptions and the intimacy of daily record-keeping highlights the sophistication of Egyptian culture. Monumental for the gods and pharaohs, yet deeply personal and practical for daily life. Papyrus scrolls, fragile yet enduring, were among the most precious tools of the scribes. Rolled and stored carefully, they carried knowledge across generations. Some contained spells, instructions for the afterlife, or chronicles of battles and events. Others held poetry, stories, and wisdom meant to inspire or instruct. Many of these scrolls have perished, leaving only fragments, yet the surviving pieces reveal a civilization deeply invested in recording experience and thought. The contrast between what has endured and what has been lost reminds us that knowledge in ancient Egypt was both abundant and elusive, visible and hidden, a delicate dance between permanence and impermanence. Scribes were more than clerks. They were interpreters of the world. They translated the complex relationship between human life, divine will, and natural order into symbols and text. Through their hands, the flow of the Nile, the cycles of the heavens, and the decrees of pharaohs were captured and preserved. They were responsible for documenting not only history, but also law, commerce, and spirituality. Their work ensured that society functioned smoothly while also maintaining a record for eternity. The contrast between their quiet labor and the monumental architecture around them reminds us that behind every grand structure and every ritual was a network of knowledge carefully recorded and transmitted. The meticulous carvings on temple walls and inside tombs tell stories that go far beyond words. Hieroglyphs were etched into stone with incredible precision, each line and curve reflecting both aesthetic beauty and practical function. These inscriptions often contain prayers, spells, and historical records, allowing future generations to understand the beliefs, politics, and culture of the time. Yet even here, mystery remains. Some symbols' meanings have been lost or debated for centuries, hinting at knowledge that was either intentionally secret or slowly faded from memory. This blend of clarity and obscurity is part of the magic of Egyptian writing. It reveals while inviting reflection, teaching while whispering unanswered questions across time. The work of scribes was not limited to the monumental. In homes, workshops, and administrative offices, scribes recorded daily life, transactions, inventories, tax records, and personal correspondence. These records offer glimpses of the ordinary, contrasting with the grand narratives of gods and pharaohs. By studying these texts, we gain insight into the lives of craftsmen, farmers, and merchants, connecting us to a humanity long past. This balance between public grandeur and private life mirrors the duality seen in tombs and pyramids, reinforcing the idea that ancient Egypt thrived both in monumental spectacle and in careful, everyday order. Education for scribes was rigorous, demanding both intellectual and spiritual discipline. Apprentices learned not only to write, but to understand the symbolic, moral, and religious significance of their work. Mistakes were rare, as even a small error could disrupt the intended meaning of a text, especially when it related to spiritual or ritual purposes. This careful attention to detail underscores the reverence Egyptians held for knowledge. Scribes were respected, their work considered essential to maintaining order, guiding the dead, and preserving the wisdom of the gods and kings. In their discipline, we glimpse a society where intellect and spirituality were intertwined, a reflection of the broader Egyptian worldview, where balance, care, and respect were paramount. Some of the most fascinating remnants of scribal work are the fragments of text that hint at knowledge now partially lost. Medical papyri, astronomical records, and mathematical treatises show that Egyptians possessed advanced understanding in fields that continue to impress modern scholars. Yet, the exact methods, full explanations, and many discoveries remain shrouded, offering tantalizing glimpses into a civilization whose intellect was both profound and partially hidden. This interplay between revealed knowledge and enduring mystery evokes a gentle sense of curiosity and admiration, inviting us to reflect on how much was understood and how much remains unknown. In imagining the daily life of a scribe, one senses a rhythm of quiet focus and deep thought. The flicker of oil lamps, the gentle scratching of reed pens, and the soft rustle of papyrus create a serene atmosphere, one that mirrors the meditative tone of the Nile, the temples, and the hidden tombs. Scribes embodied a patient, deliberate approach to life, where careful observation, attention to detail, and respect for both the seen and unseen were essential. Their work connects us not only to the intellectual achievements of ancient Egypt, but also to its calm, reflective spirit. Through their writings, scribes preserved the stories of pharaohs, the instructions for sacred rituals, and the wisdom of generations. They recorded the complex interplay between human life and divine order, translating experience into symbols that continue to speak across millennia. By contemplating their labor, we are invited into a world where knowledge is both practical and mystical, where the ordinary and extraordinary coexist, and where every recorded thought carries echoes of a civilization that revered the delicate balance between life, death, and eternity. As we leave the imagined rooms of scribes and the corridors lined with carved hieroglyphs, we carry with us a sense of connection to both the past and the mysteries it preserves. Knowledge in ancient Egypt was not simply written. It was woven into the fabric of existence, a bridge between the mortal and divine, between what is known and what remains hidden. In this reflection, we find both calm and curiosity, a gentle invitation to continue our journey through the civilization that crafted pyramids, temples, tombs, and texts with equal care and reverence. In ancient Egypt, the end of life was not regarded as an abrupt cessation, but as the beginning of a profound journey, a delicate passage from the mortal world into eternity. The practice of mummification, with its meticulous care and ritual precision, reflects a civilization deeply attuned to the interplay between the physical and spiritual, between what is visible and what is hidden. Imagine entering a cool, shadowed chamber where priests perform sacred rites, the faint scent of resin and incense filling the air, and the soft flicker of oil lamps casting long, wavering shadows on the walls. Here, life and death are intertwined, and every action is performed with reverence, precision, and purpose. The process of mummification was both science and ritual, a deliberate choreography designed to preserve the body as a vessel for the soul. Priests would remove internal organs, treating and storing them separately, while carefully desiccating the body with natron, a natural salt with preservative properties. The heart, considered the seat of intellect and emotion, was often left in place or carefully treated, while other organs were placed in canopic jars, each guarded by protective deities. The care taken with every step reflects not only technical expertise, but also spiritual intent, an effort to maintain Ma'at, the divine order beyond death. Mummification was more than preservation. It was a symbolic journey. The wrapping of linen around the body was conducted in precise layers, with amulets and charms interwoven to protect and guide the deceased in the afterlife. Each fold and placement carried meaning, echoing centuries of accumulated wisdom and belief. Some layers were inscribed with prayers or spells from texts like the Book of the Dead, ensuring that the soul could navigate the perils of the underworld. In this way, the physical act of wrapping became a ritual of preparation, an intimate and spiritual conversation between the living and the dead, between what we see and what remains unseen. The tomb itself was an extension of the mummification process, a carefully prepared home for eternity. Walls adorned with scenes of gods, daily life, and celestial imagery guided the deceased through the afterlife, while the placement of objects and offerings provided comfort and sustenance. Some tombs included miniature models of servants, animals, or boats, each meant to accompany the soul in its journey. Even the orientation of the tomb in relation to the stars and the Nile carried meaning, linking the physical resting place with cosmic order. In these chambers, contrasts abound: shadow and light, life and death, earthly reality and spiritual aspiration, all existing in a carefully balanced harmony. The rituals surrounding death were not limited to the preparation of the body. Families and priests conducted ceremonies of mourning, remembrance, and celebration. Offerings of food, drink, and symbolic items were made to honor the deceased and sustain their soul in the world beyond. Festivals, chants, and prayers reinforced the connection between the living and the dead, maintaining a continuous dialogue between generations. In this integration of the mundane and the divine, we see how ancient Egyptians approached mortality not with fear, but with reverence, curiosity, and a desire for continuity. The philosophy underpinning these practices reflects a profound understanding of existence as a continuum rather than a series of separate events. Life was a preparation for eternity, and death was a transition to a state where knowledge, virtue, and devotion could endure. The contrast between the ephemeral nature of physical life and the enduring legacy of the soul imbued every act with significance, from labor in the fields to the construction of monumental tombs. Even the smallest gestures, a carefully placed amulet, a spoken prayer, were understood to resonate far beyond the immediate moment. This belief in continuity created a sense of calm purpose, a gentle rhythm that guided individuals and communities alike. Mummies themselves, preserved with care, serve as both historical artifacts and intimate connections to the people of the past. Through them, we glimpse the physical forms of those who lived thousands of years ago, while also sensing the spiritual care invested in their journey. Some tombs reveal the lives of pharaohs, whose grandeur is mirrored in the meticulous preservation of their remains. Others offer insight into commoners, artisans, and nobles, showing that reverence for the afterlife permeated all levels of society. This interplay of scale and significance highlights the universality of Egyptian beliefs, uniting the extraordinary and the ordinary, the monumental and the personal. The art of the tomb and the mummification process also carries layers of mystery. Despite centuries of study, scholars continue to uncover new details about embalming techniques, symbolic rituals, and the intended spiritual effects. Some tombs, untouched for millennia, hold secrets that may never be fully understood. These unknowns invite both curiosity and a gentle reverence for the ingenuity and devotion of a civilization whose understanding of life and death was intricate, disciplined, and profoundly philosophical. In contemplating these mysteries, we are encouraged to approach history slowly, with patience and openness, letting the imagination wander through shadowed corridors and candlelit chambers. Even the design of the tombs reflects a balance of contrasts. Narrow, shadowed passageways lead to bright, expansive burial chambers, echoing the journey of the soul from the mortal plane to eternity. The juxtaposition of confinement and openness, darkness and light, mirrors the Egyptian understanding of life itself, structured yet unpredictable, visible yet intertwined with hidden forces. These spatial metaphors, carved into stone and filled with sacred symbolism, provide a meditative experience for those who imagine walking through them, allowing the mind to engage gently with the profound concepts of mortality, immortality, and cosmic order. In reflecting on the meticulous care and spiritual intention of mummification, we also recognize the broader societal values it represents. The balance between knowledge, labor, faith, and ritual underscores a culture that revered both human effort and divine order. Every artifact, every gesture, and every chamber was designed to preserve and guide life beyond death. In this way, ancient Egyptians created a civilization that celebrated continuity, honored memory, and embraced the mystery of existence, offering us both historical insight and a serene, reflective journey into a past that is at once tangible and mysterious. As we leave the imagined tombs and step back into the quiet desert, the shadows of centuries linger softly around us. The care taken in mummification and mortuary rituals, the delicate balance of life and death, and the profound philosophy underlying every act invite calm contemplation. Here, the contrast between what is known and what remains hidden is not unsettling, but soothing, encouraging a reflective curiosity. The Egyptians remind us that life, death, and legacy are intertwined, and that mysteries are not to be solved hurriedly, but explored patiently with reverence and imagination. In this quiet reflection, we find a gentle connection to the people who lived, labored, and believed thousands of years ago. Their care for the deceased, their intricate rituals, and their understanding of existence as a continuum create a calm rhythm that guides us gently forward. From the flowing Nile to the grandeur of the pyramids, from the secretive tombs to the meditative work of scribes, every element of ancient Egypt contributes to a world where mystery and knowledge, life and afterlife, coexist in harmonious balance. The mummification and mortuary practices are more than a glimpse into death. They are a reflection of life itself, and an invitation to journey slowly and peacefully into the enduring heart of this ancient civilization. While the grandeur of pyramids, tombs, and temples captures our imagination, ancient Egypt was also a land of quiet rhythms and ordinary routines, where daily life unfolded in harmony with the Nile, the seasons, and the cosmic order. Imagine small mud brick houses lining narrow streets, their walls painted with ochre and adorned with simple decorative motifs. Families went about their day with a gentle focus. Children played with carved toys and clay figurines. Women prepared meals over open hearths, and men tended fields, flocks, or workshops. The contrast between these intimate, everyday scenes and the monumental achievements of pharaohs and gods creates a rich tapestry, revealing a civilization that valued both the extraordinary and the familiar. Homes were modest yet functional, often designed to protect against the desert's extremes. Roofs served as living spaces in cooler months, courtyards allowed for cooking and washing, and small gardens provided herbs and vegetables. Furniture was simple: wooden stools, reed mats, and woven baskets, but practical and well-crafted. Within these spaces, families nurtured bonds, taught children traditions, and preserved knowledge, both practical and spiritual. The quiet consistency of domestic life offers a soft contrast to the dramatic spectacles of religious rituals and royal ceremonies, reminding us that the foundation of a civilization lies in the ordinary, repeated patterns of daily existence. Craftsmanship was an essential part of everyday life, and artisans were highly respected for their skills. Potters shaped clay into vessels for cooking, storage, and ritual, while weavers created fine linens for clothing and ceremonial use. Metalworkers fashioned tools, jewelry, and decorative items, blending utility with artistry. The work of these craftspeople reflected both practicality and aesthetics, embedding beauty into the rhythm of daily life. Even simple objects were infused with symbolism, often inscribed with protective signs or magical motifs, bridging the mundane and the sacred. In this quiet labor, we see how the ordinary acts of creation were deeply connected to cultural identity and spiritual belief. Trade and commerce provided another layer to daily life. Markets bustled with activity, with merchants exchanging grain, pottery, textiles, and crafted goods. Goods from distant lands, copper, incense, exotic woods, traveled along the Nile, connecting local communities with distant regions. The river itself was a lifeline for trade, as well as communication, enabling ideas, materials, and culture to flow across Egypt. In this network of exchange, contrasts appear again. The small-scale transactions of daily life contrasted with the grand ambition of pharaohs' building projects, the local rhythms of villages intertwined with the far-reaching currents of empire. This interplay created a dynamic yet harmonious society. Food and sustenance were central to daily existence. Egyptians cultivated wheat, barley, flax, and a variety of vegetables, while livestock provided meat, milk, and leather. Bread, often baked in small clay ovens, and beer, brewed at home, formed staples of the diet. Meals were simple but nourishing, shared communally, and often accompanied by rituals of thanks to the gods for abundance. The act of eating, while routine, was infused with awareness of divine favor and cosmic balance, reinforcing the connection between the ordinary and the sacred. This integration of life, labor, and spirituality exemplifies the calm, deliberate rhythm of Egyptian daily life. Education, though limited to certain classes, played a crucial role in shaping society. Children of scribes, priests, and officials learned reading, writing, and arithmetic, preparing them for roles in administration, temple service, or trade. Practical skills, such as farming, craft work, and household management, were taught at home, often passed down through generations. In this way, the transmission of knowledge, both sacred and practical, ensured the continuity of culture, linking families, communities, and the state across centuries. The contrast between formal education for some and practical training for all reflects the balance Egypt struck between specialized knowledge and communal life. Religious devotion also permeated everyday life. Small household shrines honored personal or local deities, with offerings of bread, water, or incense. People observed festivals, recited prayers, and sought guidance through amulets or divination. Even routine tasks were imbued with spiritual significance, as Egyptians sought to align their lives with Ma'at, the principle of order and balance. This quiet, pervasive spirituality underscores the seamless integration of divine awareness into daily existence, a contrast to our modern tendency to compartmentalize sacred and ordinary life. Social life was structured yet flexible. Villages and towns maintained hierarchies, but personal relationships, family bonds, and community participation remained central. Festivals and communal workdays strengthened social cohesion, while storytelling and music provided leisure and cultural continuity. The combination of hierarchy, cooperation, and creativity allowed a civilization to flourish, balancing the demands of governance, labor, and personal fulfillment. These gentle rhythms offer insight into a society where the ordinary was never disconnected from the extraordinary, where work, play, devotion, and learning flowed together in harmony. The rhythms of daily life were also dictated by the Nile and the seasons. Planting and harvest, fishing and trading, building and ritual all followed natural cycles. Villagers became attuned to the river's rise and fall, to the shifts of the sun and stars, and to the subtle signs of weather and fertility. Life required observation, patience, and adaptation. In this attentiveness to nature, we glimpse an aspect of ancient Egypt that is at once practical, spiritual, and meditative, a calm engagement with a world that shaped both character and culture. Finally, the quiet moments of leisure and reflection reveal the humanity beneath the grandeur. Children played with dolls or balls made of papyrus and leather. Adults enjoyed storytelling or music, and families gathered in evening calm to share bread, stories, and conversation. These small acts of everyday life, though easily overlooked, were central to the resilience and continuity of society. They provided comfort, connection, and continuity in a world structured by cosmic order, social hierarchy, and divine will. Even as pharaohs built pyramids and priests performed sacred rites, the simple rhythms of daily life sustained the heart of the civilization. In reflecting on daily life in ancient Egypt, we see a balance between ordinary and extraordinary, work and devotion, human and divine. The homes, crafts, markets, and routines were not separate from the spiritual and monumental. They were intertwined, forming a cohesive, living culture. This intimate, detailed world offers a quiet counterpoint to the vastness of pyramids and temples, reminding us that the essence of a civilization is as much in the gentle rhythms of daily existence as it is in monumental achievements. By imagining these lives, we step softly into the past, carried by the flow of the Nile, the whisper of the wind across fields, and the calm pulse of a society that valued both mystery and the ordinary. Amid the grandeur of temples, pyramids, and bustling towns, ancient Egypt was also a civilization of keen observation, practical ingenuity, and remarkable innovation. While rituals, art, and monumental architecture captured the imagination of generations, it was the quiet application of knowledge in medicine, engineering, and daily life that allowed society to thrive with a sense of order and continuity. Imagine a small clinic within a village, where a healer carefully mixes herbs, observes symptoms, and prepares remedies, all while quietly invoking the god's protection. Here, science and spirituality are intertwined, blending practicality with reverence, observation with intuition, and experimentation with respect for the unseen forces that shape existence. Egyptian medicine was surprisingly advanced, reflecting centuries of accumulated knowledge. Physicians, often priests trained in both science and ritual, treated a wide range of ailments with herbs, poultices, and surgical techniques. Papyrus scrolls, meticulously written by scribes, documented illnesses, symptoms, and treatments. Recipes for healing were precise, often including multiple ingredients carefully combined for maximum efficacy. In some cases, medical texts describe procedures akin to modern surgery, demonstrating not only skill, but a thoughtful understanding of human anatomy. The contrast between empirical observation and ritual invocation highlights the holistic approach of Egyptian medicine, where both physical and spiritual health were considered essential. Herbal remedies were central to healing. Plants such as garlic, honey, willow, and castor oil were used to treat wounds, infections, digestive issues, and other common ailments. Preparation was careful, sometimes combined with incantations or prayers to invoke divine aid. This blending of natural knowledge and spiritual practice exemplifies a civilization that saw no sharp boundary between science and faith. To an Egyptian healer, treating a wound or curing a fever was both a practical task and a sacred duty, a reflection of the balance between the known and the mysterious. Surgical knowledge, though limited by available tools, was surprisingly sophisticated. Evidence suggests that bone fractures could be treated with splints, minor wounds sewn with linen threads, and abscesses drained carefully to prevent infection. Techniques were informed by careful observation, passed down through generations, and recorded meticulously by scribes. These practices demonstrate a systematic approach to problem-solving, a willingness to experiment within ethical boundaries, and a deep respect for the body as both physical vessel and spiritual conduit. The contrast between the simplicity of tools and the sophistication of knowledge invites awe and quiet reflection, revealing a culture that valued skill, patience, and careful reasoning. Egyptians were also pioneers in public health and hygiene. Water management, drainage, and sanitation systems were developed along the Nile to reduce disease and support agriculture. Soap-like substances were used for cleansing, and various practices of ritual purification reinforced both cleanliness and spiritual alignment. Observation of the natural world, coupled with meticulous record-keeping, allowed them to develop a practical understanding of cause and effect that informed daily living. In this sense, science was not abstract. It was a careful, lived practice integrated into homes, workshops, temples, and fields. Astronomy and timekeeping were another domain where observation and innovation flourished. The movements of the sun, moon, and stars guided agricultural cycles, temple rituals, and monumental construction. Sundials, water clocks, and careful celestial observation allowed Egyptians to measure time accurately, predicting the flooding of the Nile and planning festivals accordingly. This blending of precision and observation reveals a culture deeply attuned to natural rhythms, aware of the invisible forces that shaped life, and capable of turning those observations into practical tools. The contrast between the vast, ordered cosmos and human ingenuity underscores the Egyptians' harmonious approach to knowledge, attentive, patient, and reflective. Mathematics and engineering were closely tied to both construction and administration. Land surveys, measurements for canals, taxation records, and the precise alignment of pyramids required numerical understanding, geometry, and problem-solving. Large-scale projects, such as temples, pyramids, and irrigation systems, combined human labor, ingenuity, and mathematical insight. The ability to translate abstract concepts into physical structures demonstrates not only technical skill, but also a philosophical approach. That knowledge, observation, and discipline could shape reality, bridging the visible and the conceptual. Innovation extended into materials science and craftsmanship as well. Egyptians experimented with metallurgy, glassmaking, and pigment creation. Copper, bronze, and gold were refined with remarkable skill, while minerals and plant extracts were used to produce vivid, long-lasting colors for painting, textiles, and cosmetics. These practical experiments reveal a curious, exploratory spirit, a willingness to observe, test, and refine techniques over generations. The result is a civilization where artistry, utility, and science were inseparable, where beauty and functionality coexisted in every tool, vessel, and structure. In medicine, science, and innovation alike, the Egyptians displayed an acute awareness of cause and effect. Careful observation of symptoms, seasonal patterns, and natural cycles informed their understanding of both immediate problems and long-term planning. This attentiveness is mirrored in the agricultural calendar, the rhythm of daily life, and the timing of rituals. Observation and patience were not merely tools for survival. They were a philosophy, a way of engaging with a world that honored both the tangible and the unseen. By maintaining careful records, testing remedies, and observing nature, Egyptians cultivated knowledge as both a practical and spiritual endeavor. The Great Sphinx of Giza stands as a silent sentinel amidst the vast desert sands, its colossal body stretching over 240 feet long, its face measuring an impressive 66 feet wide. For centuries, this enigmatic monument has captured the imagination of explorers, archaeologists, and historians alike. Its half-human, half-lion form radiates a sense of mystery, an ancient symbol of power, wisdom, and divine protection. However, the more one looks at the Sphinx, the more questions arise. Who built it? Why was it constructed? What does it represent? And perhaps most intriguing of all, what lies hidden beneath its gaze? Unlike the pyramids, whose purpose is somewhat clear, tombs for the pharaohs, the Sphinx's function and meaning have never been definitively understood. Its eyes, which once may have gazed with fierce intent over the Nile Valley, now only stare into the ever-shifting sands, as if keeping watch over the land for eternity. It seems to ask us to solve the riddle of its existence, a puzzle that has confounded scholars for thousands of years. Despite decades of research and exploration, the Sphinx continues to hold its secrets tight. The origins of the Sphinx, the prevailing theory about the Sphinx's construction, ties it to the reign of Pharaoh Khufu, around 2500 BCE, during the 4th dynasty of ancient Egypt. Khufu is believed to have commissioned the Sphinx as a monumental symbol of his power, and its face is traditionally said to represent the king himself. This theory is supported by the Sphinx's position in relation to the pyramids at Giza, directly aligned with Khufu's pyramid. However, some scholars believe the Sphinx could be far older than this, with some suggesting that it may have been built during an earlier, forgotten civilization. One of the most persistent mysteries surrounding the Sphinx is its age. While the mainstream academic view dates it to the time of Khufu, other researchers, such as geologist Robert Schoch, have proposed a theory that the Sphinx could be thousands of years older. Schoch points to the erosion patterns on the Sphinx's body, which suggests that the monument has been subjected to extensive water damage, a phenomenon that would be unlikely in the arid conditions of modern Egypt. If the Sphinx were indeed constructed during an earlier period, it could be a relic of a long-lost civilization buried beneath layers of time and history. Such a revelation would fundamentally alter our understanding of ancient Egyptian history, suggesting that the civilization may have had roots far deeper than we imagine. The mystery of the missing nose, one of the most striking features of the Sphinx, is its damaged nose, which has been absent for centuries. This missing feature has fueled numerous theories and legends, some of which are far more colorful than others. One popular story claims that the nose was deliberately destroyed by a French soldier during Napoleon's campaign in Egypt, though historical evidence suggests this is a myth. In reality, the Sphinx's nose likely fell off long before the French arrived, possibly during the Middle Ages or even earlier. But the question remains, who or what caused this iconic feature to disappear? Some theories suggest that the nose may have been removed intentionally by religious zealots. During the early Islamic period, Egypt saw several invasions and a transformation in religious and cultural practices. Some believe that the nose was intentionally damaged by these groups as a symbol of defiance against the pagan Egyptian gods, with the Sphinx being viewed as a relic of idol worship. Others propose that the destruction of the nose was simply the result of natural erosion over time, compounded by the harsh climate and sandstorms of the desert. The Sphinx's spiritual significance, while the physical origins of the Sphinx remain an enigma, its symbolic and spiritual significance is more readily apparent. In ancient Egypt, the lion was considered a powerful symbol of strength, courage, and royal authority. By combining the lion's form with the human face of a pharaoh, the Sphinx represents the divine union of man and beast, a harmonious blend of wisdom and might. It embodies the pharaoh's role as a ruler, protector, and intermediary between the gods and the people. Moreover, the Sphinx's placement on the Giza Plateau, where it gazes directly toward the rising sun, links it to the Egyptian sun god Ra. The Sphinx may have been intended as a guardian, not only of the tombs of the pharaohs, but also of the cosmic order itself. This connection to Ra underscores the idea of the Sphinx as a symbol of eternal watchfulness, standing at the gates of time, its gaze never wavering. The Egyptians believed in a cyclical nature of existence, with life, death, and rebirth intertwined in a constant flow. The Sphinx, positioned between the pyramids of the Old Kingdom and the horizon, symbolizes the continuity of life and the perpetual cycle of the sun, watching over the tombs and the afterlife. The enigma beneath the Sphinx, perhaps the most tantalizing mystery surrounding the Sphinx, is the possibility of hidden chambers or tunnels beneath its massive body. For centuries, rumors have swirled about secret passageways beneath the Sphinx, leading to lost treasures, hidden knowledge, or even the burial chamber of a forgotten king. Archaeologists and explorers have long been intrigued by the possibility of these hidden spaces, and modern technologies, such as ground-penetrating radar, have suggested that there may indeed be something beneath the Sphinx, though no conclusive evidence has ever been uncovered. One of the most famous theories regarding the Sphinx's underground secrets is the idea of the Hall of Records, an alleged chamber containing the ancient wisdom of Egypt. According to some researchers, this chamber was hidden beneath the Sphinx by an advanced civilization that predates the Egyptians, containing ancient scrolls or artifacts that could unlock the mysteries of human history. Some claim that these records would explain the true origins of the Sphinx, as well as the advanced knowledge possessed by ancient Egyptians. However, despite numerous excavations, no evidence of such a chamber has ever been found. This sense of mystery is further compounded by the fact that the Sphinx has been subjected to centuries of erosion and damage, making it difficult to fully explore or understand its structure. The most recent efforts to investigate the area around the Sphinx have been hindered by political and logistical challenges, and the true extent of what lies beneath remains elusive. The Sphinx and modern Egyptology in recent years. Interest in the Sphinx has only deepened as new technologies and techniques allow for a more detailed study of this ancient monument. Researchers continue to analyze its structure, and each new discovery brings us closer to understanding its origins. However, despite all the advancements in archaeology, the Sphinx remains as enigmatic as ever. Its silent watch over the desert continues, a symbol of the enduring allure of ancient Egypt and the mysteries that still lie buried beneath the sands. The Sphinx's legacy extends beyond the world of archaeology and into the realm of modern culture. It has inspired countless books, films, and theories, fueling the imagination of those who seek to uncover the secrets of the past. Its mystique draws visitors from all over the world, eager to witness firsthand the monument that has stood as a testament to Egypt's ancient grandeur. As we stand before the Sphinx, we are reminded of the timeless nature of its mystery, a mystery that may never be fully unraveled, but one that continues to beckon us to look deeper, to search for the answers that may lie just beneath the surface. Conclusion. The silent watcher as the sun sets over the Giza Plateau, casting long shadows over the Sphinx. One is struck by the profound silence that seems to envelop the monument. The winds of time have weathered it. The sands of Egypt have shifted around it, yet the Sphinx stands unmoving and eternal. Whether it is a symbol of divine power, a monument to a forgotten king, or a gateway to the mysteries of the past, the Sphinx remains an enduring symbol of the ancient world. Ancient Egypt is often portrayed as a civilization of immense grandeur and sophistication, whose monuments and discoveries have shaped the course of human history. Yet beneath the well-documented achievements of the pharaohs lies a tantalizing and unexplored possibility: the existence of lost knowledge that could have been passed down from a civilization even older and more advanced than what we currently understand. The ancient Egyptians themselves may have inherited or uncovered knowledge from a long-forgotten culture, one that predated their own remarkable accomplishments. This knowledge, however, has largely been lost to time, hidden beneath layers of history, sand, and erosion. The idea of Egypt as the inheritor of forgotten wisdom is an intriguing one, suggesting that the secrets of their remarkable achievements may have been built on the foundation of an even older, mysterious legacy. The concept of lost civilizations, the idea of lost civilizations, is not new. Throughout history, there have been tales of cultures whose knowledge and accomplishments were either forgotten or deliberately erased. From the lost city of Atlantis to the myths of ancient Sumer and the mysterious Maya, the notion that entire civilizations with advanced knowledge could vanish has long captured the human imagination. But what if such a civilization existed in Egypt, a culture whose ancient wisdom was passed down to the Egyptians, shaping their understanding of architecture, astronomy, and the afterlife? In Egypt, this theory has been most often discussed in the context of the so-called pre-dynastic period, the time before the unification of Upper and Lower Egypt around 3100 BCE. It is during this time that Egypt is believed to have undergone significant transformations, evolving from a collection of tribes into a unified kingdom with highly advanced cultural practices. Archaeologists have uncovered evidence of settlement sites dating back as far as 5000 BCE, suggesting that ancient Egyptians were already engaging in agricultural practices, crafting pottery, and building rudimentary structures well before the rise of the pharaohs. But were these early Egyptians simply precursors to the more well-known dynasties? Or did they possess lost knowledge that helped fuel the cultural explosion of Egypt's Old Kingdom? The Great Pyramid and advanced knowledge. One of the most persistent mysteries surrounding ancient Egypt is the construction of the Great Pyramid of Giza. While most historians attribute the pyramid's construction to Pharaoh Khufu during the 4th dynasty, there are questions that continue to perplex archaeologists. How was the pyramid constructed with such precision, given the tools and technology of the time? How could the ancient Egyptians achieve such an extraordinary feat of engineering, aligning the pyramid with such accuracy to the cardinal points of the compass, using massive stones weighing tons each, without the use of modern machinery? Some researchers believe that the answer to this mystery may lie in the knowledge and techniques passed down from a previous civilization, perhaps one that had a far more advanced understanding of geometry, mathematics, and astronomy than what the Egyptians are typically credited with. The precision of the pyramid's construction, as well as its alignment with the stars, particularly the star Sirius, which was central to Egyptian cosmology, suggests that the ancient Egyptians were working with a deep, esoteric understanding of the cosmos. If this knowledge was inherited from an earlier culture, it would indicate that Egypt's civilization was not born in isolation, but was part of a much older tradition that spanned thousands of years. There are theories that suggest the Great Pyramid might not have been built merely as a tomb for a pharaoh, but as a repository of cosmic knowledge, possibly designed to preserve ancient secrets for posterity. Some propose that the pyramid's structure contains hidden mathematical formulas and principles related to the universe's creation and the nature of time itself. Whether these ideas are speculative or based on fragments of lost knowledge, they point to the possibility that Egypt's rise to greatness was not a sudden event, but the culmination of centuries of accumulated wisdom, some of which may have been lost or hidden away. Ancient Egyptian mysticism and hidden wisdom. Ancient Egypt is famous for its spiritual practices and intricate mythology. The Egyptians were deeply concerned with the mysteries of the afterlife, and their religious texts, such as the pyramid texts and the coffin texts, offer rich insights into their beliefs. These texts describe not only the journey of the soul after death, but also elaborate on the connection between the divine and the earthly realms. The Egyptians believed that the soul, upon death, would travel through a series of trials and tribulations before it could reach the afterlife. In this journey, the deceased would rely on spells, rituals, and knowledge passed down from the gods. But what if the knowledge contained in these religious texts was more than just a spiritual guide? Some scholars believe that these texts encoded hidden wisdom, such as ancient scientific or philosophical knowledge, that was understood only by the priests and the most initiated members of Egyptian society. This hidden wisdom, passed down through the generations, might have originated from an earlier civilization, a culture that understood the deep, secret workings of the universe. Such wisdom could have encompassed everything from advanced astronomy to sophisticated medical practices, yet it has been obscured by the passage of time. There are theories that suggest Egyptian temples, such as the Temple of Karnak, might have been built upon earlier, forgotten structures that house sacred knowledge. Some researchers believe that these temples contain more than just religious artifacts and rituals. They may have been centers of ancient learning, preserving knowledge that could have been passed down from earlier, pre-dynastic civilizations. The concept of the Hall of Records, perhaps the most famous idea related to lost knowledge in ancient Egypt, is the concept of the Hall of Records. According to some esoteric traditions, the Hall of Records is a hidden chamber beneath the Sphinx or somewhere on the Giza Plateau that contains all the knowledge of ancient civilizations, including that of lost cultures that predate Egypt. The Hall of Records is said to hold sacred texts, maps, and relics that could unlock the mysteries of the origins of civilization and the true history of humanity. The idea of the Hall of Records gained widespread attention following the discovery of the Sphinx's hidden chambers and tunnels in the early 20th century. While no such chamber has been conclusively found, many believe that the Sphinx could be guarding these ancient secrets. Some theorists suggest that the Hall of Records is not just a physical place, but a symbolic repository of ancient wisdom, waiting to be rediscovered. If such a chamber exists, it would suggest that the Egyptians were not the originators of their knowledge, but rather the inheritors of an ancient and highly advanced tradition that was lost over time. Lost technologies and knowledge in the desert in addition to spiritual wisdom. Egypt's ancient past might have contained knowledge of technologies that have since been lost to the sands of time. There are records of mysterious artifacts found in Egypt, some of which suggest the Egyptians had access to advanced technology or were capable of creating machines that we cannot fully comprehend today. For instance, the so-called Dendera light reliefs found in the Hathor Temple at Dendera depict what appears to be a bulbous, electrical-looking object, leading some researchers to speculate that the ancient Egyptians may have had access to some form of electrical technology, potentially harnessed from the natural resources of the Nile. Other theories posit that the Egyptians may have had knowledge of certain natural materials or substances that allowed them to cut and transport the massive stones used in the construction of the pyramids with far greater ease than we can explain today. The lost techniques of stone cutting and material manipulation could indicate that the Egyptians had access to technologies that have since been forgotten, knowledge that may have been passed down from an older civilization with greater mastery over the natural world. The legacy of lost knowledge, the idea that ancient Egypt was the inheritor of lost knowledge, leads us to reconsider the very nature of the civilization's achievements. Were the Egyptians simply brilliant innovators? Or were they building on the foundations of a forgotten civilization? Could the knowledge that allowed them to construct the pyramids and map the stars have come from a culture older and more advanced than their own? And if such a culture existed, where did it go? Perhaps the most profound mystery surrounding Egypt is the possibility that the civilization's true greatness lies not only in what they accomplished, but in what they inherited, ancient wisdom that continues to elude us. Ancient Egypt's influence on modern civilization cannot be overstated. While the physical remnants of this great culture have been eroded by time, its intellectual, cultural, and spiritual contributions continue to shape the world. From the knowledge embedded in monumental structures to the philosophical ideas about life, death, and the afterlife, Egypt's legacy endures. The Egyptians' advancements in mathematics, engineering, and medicine laid the groundwork for future civilizations. Their art, architecture, and religion left an indelible mark on the world. The ancient Egyptians' understanding of astronomy and the cosmos still resonates in modern science, especially through the precision seen in the construction of the pyramids. Even in popular culture, Egyptian symbolism remains potent, whether in modern films, literature, or art. The pyramids continue to inspire wonder, and their mysterious purpose remains a topic of discussion. Through Egyptology, scholars continue to uncover lost texts, but many aspects of Egypt's past remain hidden in the sands of time, fostering a sense of mystique. Despite being separated by millennia, Egypt's influence on humanity's collective consciousness is undeniable, and its timeless wisdom continues to inspire generations. As much as we have uncovered about ancient Egypt, it's impossible to ignore the unsolved mysteries that persist. The pyramids, with their unparalleled precision, continue to spark debates on how they were constructed. Some believe they were built using forgotten technologies, while others propose that extraterrestrial intervention played a role. The purpose of the Great Pyramid itself remains a tantalizing enigma. Was it merely a tomb, or was it an energy device, an astronomical observatory, or a temple designed to connect with the divine? Equally mysterious is the Sphinx, which some argue may be much older than conventional history suggests, possibly dating back to an even more ancient civilization. The idea of hidden chambers beneath the Sphinx, containing lost knowledge, continues to capture the imagination of many. And the concept of a hall of records, where Egypt's sacred knowledge is preserved, remains a tantalizing possibility. These mysteries, which have defied explanation for centuries, fuel the ongoing search for deeper understanding. Despite the passage of time, Egypt's legacy remains as relevant today as it was thousands of years ago. The country's mysteries continue to beckon humanity to explore and understand the unknown. Whether through the meticulous study of its monuments, the deciphering of its sacred texts, or the fascination with its mystical symbolism, Egypt holds a profound place in the collective imagination. The ancient Egyptians' pursuit of knowledge and spiritual enlightenment resonates across cultures and continues to inspire those who seek a deeper connection with the cosmos, life, and death. The unanswered questions, such as the true purpose of the pyramids or the significance of the Sphinx, keep the allure of Egypt alive. It's not just a civilization of the past, but a living presence in our culture, inspiring both scholarly inquiry and spiritual reflection. Egypt's profound teachings on life, balance, and the divine offer lessons that transcend time. As we look to the future, we may never fully uncover all of Egypt's secrets, but the journey itself is one that continues to enrich the human spirit, guiding us toward greater wisdom and understanding.